Communication is the backbone of business. People get up every day and they have to come together to work together for business to run. But communication is hard. When it goes well, teams perform well. When it goes poorly, teams perform poorly. And it's exceptionally costly.
A recent Harris Poll study showed that U.S. businesses are losing up to $1.2 trillion each year due to ineffective communication.
Grammarly helps tens of millions of people every day communicate more effectively. When we set out to help businesses perform more effectively through better communication, we set out to actually figure out some of the particular challenges that those organizations have and they get in the way of their performance.
Communicating effectively is difficult at the best of times because it's very unique to who we are as individuals. And that's the challenge and the problem we want to solve for our customers here at Grammarly.
Grammarly helps solve this challenge by providing the confidence for effective communication to tens of millions of people and tens of thousands of teams every day.
Grammarly's mission is to improve lives by improving communication. We help people through all walks of life and all phases of the communication life cycle. This includes individuals, academics, schools, companies, organizations of various sorts, all of which have many communication use cases that they rely on Grammarly for each day. But Grammarly's value goes beyond those use cases to include helping people with their personal and professional success, building their confidence, increasing belonging, and with it inclusion, creating more connection, all of which enables people to live fuller lives.
In the US, the average employer is wasting $12,500 per year per employee as a result of miscommunication. That gets in the way of business performance. We solve that problem. We help employees communicate better. When they communicate better, they work together better. And when they work together better, companies perform better.
Whereas it used to be that empathy was a nice to have, it's now business critical that leaders are empathetic. And while leaders might know this, they may not understand the importance that communication has in driving this engagement and this employee experience. Leaders are starting to catch on to the importance of empathy, and we're starting to see a lot more studies on the effectiveness of teams when their leaders are empathetic. But this isn't just about providing flexibility for an employee's needs. It's about setting the team up for success by providing support and the tools necessary to drive effective communication, engagement, and connection.
Because we're so focused on this one problem, it allows us to embrace all of the depth and complexity that goes into a piece of effective communication. Not just correctness, but your tone, how empathetic you are, how brief you need to be, the word choice you use.
One of the fun things over the last few years has been to see how many different types of companies and different types of jobs in those companies are improved with Grammarly Business. Whether it be a manufacturing company, whether it be a professional services company, it doesn't matter. In all those cases, we find double-digit improvements in efficiency and in quality.
We at this point have at least one Grammarly user in more than 2/3 of the Forbes Global 2000. We've also seen our large dollar value contracts with enterprises increase over 3x just in the last year.
My name is Rhonda Hughes, and I lead global content, social media, and customer advocacy at Zoom. I can see in 2022 so far that Grammarly has made over 10,000 suggestions for adjustments based on our style guide, and then also saved my team over 7,000 hours of time.
Grammarly is built on a foundation of AI, augmented with human expertise. On the AI side, we use a variety of different technologies, everything from rule-based systems and natural language processing to large language models and ML pipelines. And on the human expertise side, we have analytical linguists and computational linguists deeply studying the structure of language and the evolution of language, because language is a dynamic and moving construct.
From employees, I've heard that their favorite feature is the brand tone. They love the little emoji that tells them what their message is actually conveying and can make adjustments. So if they want to be friendly or professional, it helps them to be better, more confident writers.
We also recently launched Grammarly for developers, and it's been super interesting to see all the thousands of different problems that developers are solving for their users and how they see Grammarly helping them solve their problems for their users. And even though we've seen so many of these developers express interest, we're barely getting started, and there's so much more we can do.
Over time, what we see is the suggestions that we're making and the way that our software is helping them do their job better and faster is actually changing because they're learning through the use of the software while moving faster to get their job done.
Grammarly puts users at the center of everything we do. We want to make sure that we enable our customers and our users to communicate with sensitivity and inclusivity. We are engaged in what I think is one of the greatest experiments in how work gets done, certainly in my lifetime. We're working in teams that are more global, more distributed, and more diverse than ever before.
What challenges of the last few years have really upended the workplace in a number of ways. Employees are no longer just expecting a place to go to work. They're expecting quite a bit more out of their employers. They're expecting empathy and engagement, connection. And how leaders communicate is a huge part of this. Effective communication is the key to success in the hybrid work era.
Imagine a world in which you write a document and then you send an email to a bunch of people about the document you just wrote, and then have a messaging exchange about the email about the document you just wrote. And imagine a world in which Grammarly is there for you at every one of those points, helping you communicate effectively, knowing your goals, and helping you achieve your desired outcomes. Now that's a future that I'd like to bring about.
Grammarly's pioneering the future of workplace communication. We're building a more engaged, inclusive, and productive global workforce.
The users who use these products love them, and we've barely scratched the surface of what's possible as we innovate on the user experience. I love talking about Grammarly's future because there's so much momentum and so much innovation happening across so many different fronts.